It's Thursday, and our reading today is taken from Luke chapter 21 verse 37 to Luke chapter 22 verse 30. I'd encourage you though to read through to the end of the chapter in your own time. The upper room, the garden, Jesus' arrest and the interrogation pass quickly before our eyes. Yet Jesus and his life's mission never leave centre stage. Here's the reading. Each day Jesus was teaching at the temple, and each evening he went out to spend the night on the hill called the Mount of Olives. And all the people came early in the morning to hear him at the temple. Now the feast of unleavened bread, called the Passover, was approaching, and the chief priests and teachers of the law were looking for some way to get rid of Jesus, for they were afraid of the people. Then Satan entered Judas, called Iscariot, one of the 12, and Judas went to one of the chief priests and the officers of the temple guards and discussed with them how he might betray Jesus. They were delighted and agreed to give him money. He consented and watched for an opportunity to hand Jesus over to them when no crowd was present. Then came the day of unleavened bread, on which the Passover lamb had to be sacrificed. Jesus sent Peter and John, saying, "Go and make preparations for us to eat the Passover." "Where do you want us to prepare it?" they said. He replied, "As you enter the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him to the house that he enters, and say to the owner of the house, 'The teacher asks, where is the guest room where I may eat the Passover with my disciples?' He will show you a large room upstairs, all furnished. Make preparations there." They left and found things just as Jesus had told them. So they prepared the Passover. When the hour came, Jesus and his apostles reclined at the table, and he said to them, "I have eagerly desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer, for I tell you I will not eat it again until it finds fulfillment in the kingdom of God." After taking the cup, he gave thanks and said, "Take this and divide it among you, for I tell you I will not drink again from the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God comes." And he took the bread, gave thanks and broke it, and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." In the same way, after the supper, he took the cup, saying, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you. But the hand of him who is going to betray me is with mine on the table. The Son of Man will go as it has been decreed, but woe to that man who betrays him." They began to question among themselves which of them it might be who would do this. A dispute also arose among them as to which of them was considered to be the greatest. Jesus said to them, "The kings of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those who exercise authority over them call themselves benefactors. But you are not to be like that. Instead, the greatest among you should be like the youngest, and the one who rules like the one who serves. For who is greater, the one who is at the table or the one who serves? Is it not the one who is at the table? But I am among you as one who serves. You are those who have stood by me in my trials, and I confer on you a kingdom, just as my Father conferred one on me, so that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel." What was happening to Jesus reflected the working out of God's great plan for the salvation of humanity. Faced by the pain and glory of the cross and the splendour of the resurrection, we can all too easily sideline the immediate events of this Thursday night that led up to it all. Here we find Jesus eating with his friends. They shared the Passover meal in community. Jesus reminded them that this was to be something that they should continue to do in remembrance of him. It would bring to their minds both the events but also the meaning behind the events. Notice though in the reading how the same issue has come up once again, the issue of authority. Who would be first? Who would be last? And here we find Jesus reminding the disciples and us that he came to be a servant, not to be served. He came to serve them and to serve us by going to the cross, by seeing through his Father's mission, by dying for us, and as we will learn, by rising again from the dead. Take time today to pray and give thanks to God that Christ is has come to be your servant, and that he gave his life as a ransom for you and for many.